feel like it's gonna be very echoey in here. I feel like the lighting is completely wrong at this time of day, but I have another video that is sponsored that I need to film, so let's procrastinate and let's do this video instead, okay? The reason why I'm not filming the other video today is because I actually have to film it in the other room, and Amelia is napping right now. So right now where I am currently in our bathroom is further away from her, so she can't hear me as I speak, so that's the reason. But you guys have been requesting this video, and so it is on my list, and as the year comes to an end, I really been like feeling like I want to get all those videos that you've requested in by the end of the year. All right, I feel like today is not one of the greatest skin days. We're just not necessarily like a good face day, you know what I mean. There'll be days that I'm like, oh, the skin is skinning, everything is working in my favor, and of course it's never a day that you have to go anywhere, film anything. Let's get into the skin. I just moisturized. I actually really like this for evening and stuff, but if I'm being honest, for the last, basically since about mid-September until now, on my hair and skin, all I've been using is my new product that I'm working on. And I know you guys are probably sick of hearing me talk about this, but obviously the formulation that I've put together is something that I already thought was needed. So it's not like, oh, will this work? I knew it would. But actually putting it into practice, actually using it on a daily basis is not necessarily something I've done before. So that's been interesting to kind of see like, okay, this is how this works and this is how this feels. So now a little over 2 months, I haven't broken out. I feel like my complexion is way more hydrated. You guys probably also heard me talk about how much drier my skin became after pregnancy or even during pregnancy. And I thought it'd be a during pregnancy situation only, but even after I had Amelia, it's just something I've been struggling with. And my whole life, I've always just had oily skin. So if I'm being honest, I haven't known how to take care of or treat dry skin. So I'm using the House Labs concealer, which I absolutely adore. And I've talked about it in my, I don't know if it was last video, but in my Beauty 2023 favorites. And I just love the formula. It blends out nicely. It's like super creamy, but doesn't crease throughout the day, which is really nice. And tonight we're gonna be doing date night, which we have really neglected. I think the fact that we took a family vacation this year, it was like, okay, that was, you know, a lot of effort doing that with a toddler and stuff, and like that's like our fun thing. But one thing Adam and I have like realized is in order to be the best parents we want to be, it's also really, really important to focus on us. And I think we realized it when a couple of weeks ago, she was like, Mama, Daddy, kissing. And we had been watching Ratatouille, and there was like that kissing scene that she like somehow was like really fascinated by. I mean, I grew up with my parents like practically making out. My parents were really young when I was born. So that was just like normal. I just always grew up seeing it. And I think maybe the fact that Adam and I are, I don't know, older, like we're like, oh, she doesn't need to see that. But I think our opinions have kind of changed on that. And I think she does need to see that. And I think it's important for her to grow up and see the love that does surround her, and, you know, that she came from love and stuff. Anyway, that was a long ass tangent. Just to say that I think our last date night was probably our anniversary, which is in February. I know we did last year when she was like 2-3 months old. And that's because we just felt like, whoa, we need to go kind of like feel like ourselves for one night. And then I ended up having 2 olive martinis, which for me is a lot. And then it was like, okay, cool, we have like babysitting. Well, the next morning we were watching Amelia, and I just realized like, that's not that fun when you have, you know, a crying child the next morning. So I was using the NARS Radiant Concealer in Fiji, which I'm kind of like between colors right now. I feel like I'm losing my summer glow that I had for the first time in a long time. I was actually like tan, all over tan, which was a dream come true. Like I haven't self-tanned in, probably like since April or something. Going over my cheeks with this Luxe Unfiltered, which is a tanning brand by an influencer. I was gonna say here, but she's on Instagram. And I really love the glow that this gives me. The lighting is absolutely horrendous in here. Anyway, I love you guys for being here. I feel like this year has been very transformative, and I hate to like say that because it's like from the outside, I doubt it looks like that, but I feel like we need to like normalize that a little bit more and, you know, like celebrate our wins, and not everything that, even though it's transformative for me, you know, personally, and I feel like I'm growing and evolving, just because it doesn't look like that necessarily on social media doesn't mean that it's still not worthy of, you know, either being proud of or mentioning. But yeah, I feel like, oh my gosh, I almost said our brand name for our product, but that's coming along nicely. And I'm sure you guys have all seen this on social media, that graph of how like a business feels. And it's like, this is great, this is trash, this is amazing, this is, what am I doing? Like, that's literally the range of emotions sometimes in a day, even let alone a week. Overall, it's like really, really exciting. And I feel like as an artist or someone that creates, you know, for a living, both with hair and obviously here on YouTube, it's like a very different way of creating, and it's so fulfilling. And I didn't realize that it would be. I feel like when I imagined having a brand, I thought like how cool to like be a brand owner and to have a product, obviously like you're proud of, but like to give that to people, or, you know, have people try out this amazing product. I thought about it from that perspective and not from the, I'll actually really, really enjoy the process of creating this product. And I wish I could tell you more, but yeah, we have, you know, a month at least in mind for when that should be launching, which is kind of soon and kind of scary. So going back to that feeling of like that graph of like, yeah, we got this, everything's gonna be great, to not. September was that. We had nailed the bottle. I was trying my official formulation for the first time. Like everything, like I was like, oh, it's coming together. It's happening. Like in a month, we'll have a complete product. Turns out that, so obviously we got samples from different labs and different packaging companies. So I had like, basically for the component we're using, there's like a cap or a top and the actual bottle. And when I put them together and I approved a cap from one manufacturer and the bottle from a different one, and they were not compatible, and that's what I had approved. And so like a very silly mistake. Ended up like we went back to square one. We had to go back and find a brand new bottle supplier. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I did this, like I made a mistake. But anyway, it turned out to be so much better. But yeah, we're so much happier with the company we're actually working with. They're like better to work with. And one thing I'm super excited about is that our actual formulation is being created here in California. I've been to the lab twice now, and I meet with the chemist within the next couple of weeks to not finalize the actual formulation, because I think we've got that, but for scent purposes. And I've gone back and forth on this one. Do I want to make it super natural? Do I want to have it be fragrance free? And I think eventually maybe we'll offer that option. But the whole goal for this brand is to really bring you hair care that's natural, that really truly helps your hair, but also feels like a luxurious hair brand experience. So I feel like we have one or the other. We have this amazing, luxurious $80 hair product that we use, but it's full of silicones and full of like all these nasty stuff. And yes, even the fancy, expensive stuff. Here is a great example. You probably have tried this, the Orbe Gold Lust Nourishing Oil. Like the way it smells. I think packaging is kind of cheap, but this is like a huge favorite for, you know, hair clients. And it has silicone in it. And I think that's a big no-no because this is a very luxe oil. So comparing, I feel like we have that end of the spectrum, and then we have something that's like really clean, really good for you, but it like either doesn't smell nice or it just like, it doesn't feel luxe and nice. Basically, I want like Orbe and like Whole Foods to have a baby and bring you a product that's clean, amazing, delivers results, and that doesn't have any of the yucky ingredients, but truly works. So, is that too much to ask? And I'll be honest, I think in the beginning I was like, I've nailed this formula before we even started. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, why hasn't anyone done this before? And then when you get to actually formulating, you're like, oh, this is why no one has done this before. Because it's like, oh, these 3 ingredients that I was thinking about, oh, they're not compatible. Or, oh, if you put those 3 ingredients, now you need to put in, you know, a preservative. And it's like, well, that one preservative now makes my product less clean. Okay, so like, let's find the cleanest preservative. Sometimes that preservative ends up being like one of the most expensive items, you know, on your list. And then you're like, is it worth it? Like, is this what the consumer wants? Or am I being way too finicky with, you know, every ingredient? But at the end of the day, what you guys are paying for, I want it to all be there in the formula. I could put my ego into packaging and do it all beautiful and do it, and of course I will. I will make it as absolutely gorgeous and stunning as obviously I want it to be, but I definitely didn't want to spend time, money, and for you to spend money on something that you'll throw away. So I really want all of the value to really be in the product. And I think so far we've done a good job. I didn't mean to like go on a long tangent about this, but since we're doing a chatty kind of get ready with me, I figured I'd catch you up. Yeah, I took my extensions out, I want to say 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I was like in the middle of like that first month of using our product daily. I kind of wanted to see my hair in all its glory with, you know, without extensions, and just really kind of feel it that way. And I did add some face framing extensions this week actually, but I think I went, I want to say at least 6 weeks, almost 8 weeks without any extensions in, because I really wanted to kind of see the transformation of, you know, the product on my hair. So I'm happy to report back that I'm really, really, truly loving how it feels, and the results. But obviously, so my goal with this was it's going to be a hair product, but I wanted to make it so clean that you could use it on your face while you're pregnant, all the things. And that was like my criteria, because that then is the standard for how clean it's going to be. We're there, we did it. But what I didn't think was gonna happen was that I was gonna love it as a skin product as much as I do. I knew I was gonna love it as a hair product. And I thought, yeah, this will be like a good face product also. But I'm like so surprised by how much I like it as a skincare product, and the fact that I still reach for it every single day. I absolutely can't wait for the new year for you guys to try it. I also mentioned in my favorites video that I've been using nicer brushes. I feel like it just elevates my makeup application process for the day. And I think you should always like pamper yourself, but I think after having a baby, I feel like you appreciate those things so much more. And so another thing I feel like I've done this year is like really make like ordinary moments really special. And I think that's something about myself that I've always, like a simple morning that, you know, like even when I was like in school or high school and stuff, and I just had like the most ordinary morning where, you know, it was just good. I mean, it was nothing bad happened, like nothing extraordinary happened either, but just an ordinary morning. I don't know why, but it's like so soothing to me. When I've been called basic by a not friend in the past, and I remember when he said it, I think a part of me was like so flattered because I think deep down, I think just maybe being an immigrant and like when moving here and starting school, like I feel like I didn't necessarily fit in. So like in a way, I feel like being basic means that like you pick what the majority picks. And I was like, oh my gosh, someone thinks that of me? Because I've always thought I dress differently, I sound different, you know, whatever. And not that there is anything wrong with that, but it was kind of a compliment to me. But I've also realized that like, it's not like the crazy night out that excites me, but it's also not like the most mundane, boring night either. But like an evening where we have a nice dinner, but we're not really like going out, and it's like chill, and Amelia's in a good mood, and the candles are on, and like the wine is right. I don't know, like that is like so much more exciting to me. And like that's something I feel like I've more recently talked with a close friend about, and she was like, yes. And she was like, why does nobody talk about that? But it makes us sound so basic. And then I was like, is that what basic is? Because if that's what it is, I freaking want to be basic. But I think obviously when people say it as like a put down, it means like you have like no personal style or whatever, and you just like go by like what's in. And I will admit, I think the more that I've been on social media, like before social media, obviously, I feel like we had more of our own style. And one thing too that I've realized with like just social media and more just globalization is that like I used to like go to Europe and the style was so different. You would travel to a different country and it was like inspiring and fresh and new. And I feel like with the internet, everything's the same. Like the trends here are the trends in Europe. Obviously a little different still, of course, but culture is still different. But like I miss that like uniqueness. And I think, and it may sound like I'm contradicting myself, but I think my point was I always felt like maybe I stood out and I didn't want to, whereas I feel like the culture in the US is to stand out because I think we're kind of like all the same. So I think the part where I felt like it was a compliment was because it's like, if I could like go back to my childhood self who felt like she didn't belong, like one day it'll be called basic in the US, so don't you worry. A little bit deep and I'm gonna be a little bit vulnerable, but I do feel like when I started on social media, like I said, like I had my own style. I feel like I was different, or at least I felt that. And I think even with my content, like I never looked at what someone else is doing. It was like, there's like no hairdressers teaching you how to like tone your hair at home kind of thing. And I was like, I'll do that. And I never thought like, let me look to see what other YouTubers are doing. And I think the more I did YouTube and the more you're like made to think about the algorithm and think about the numbers, and like then you're like, okay, now you're like in this rat race and like, what's this person doing? Is this what I should be doing? Like what I'm doing is wrong. Like I need to do more of this. And I think that ends up killing more creativity than anything, because then now you're kind of like imitating. But it's weird because I feel like the way the algorithm has like gone, it kind of pushes you to do that. Otherwise you don't get noticed, or you don't get, your videos don't get, pushed out. And so anyway, it's a interesting time, I feel like, for social media. And I do have faith that social media is here to stay, but also that at one point, I think it'll favor the new channels and, the newness, but also someone that has an audience. I don't know. At least maybe that's what I'm telling myself. But one thing I will say, I think I've fallen more in love with YouTube and like the whole process than I did maybe in the beginning. In the beginning, I enjoyed shooting the video, hated editing. Or I would love coming up with a concept or, an idea for a video. But then when I would come time to film, sometimes I would feel like, oh, that's not how I imagined it. Like I didn't say everything I wanted to say or something like that. And I feel like now I do feel a little bit more kind of in balance with the whole process. And yeah, I feel like I just enjoy it. And I really try and enjoy the whole process, the editing, the everything. I probably sound like a broken record about this, but I do feel like it's so important to really like romanticize like your whole life. And I've always known this. And I remember like even when I like moved to San Francisco and stuff, and I remember one day it was like raining and like I got to the salon and my client wasn't there, and I like ran across the street to this coffee shop and I like got myself a tea, and everyone was just like scrambling and it was like raining and crazy and stuff. And I just remember thinking like, I'm so lucky to live here. And I remember thinking like, I never want to lose this feeling of, regardless of like what the circumstance is, to like really like take a moment to take in like a special part of your day and like really feel it, and really, because I think that's what overall makes you happy. I think we oftentimes are like, if I lose the 10 pounds, if I live in this house, in this neighborhood, if I have this partner, like I will be happy. But like, and I know this sounds like cheesy, just love what you have right now, but I mean like on a daily basis, like those like little 10 happy moments a day, that like becomes your life, not just like the one house or the one, and I feel like, especially even like with social media, it's like we compare ourselves and whatever, like, but really try and really notice those amazing pockets of your day that really truly are incredible. It might be the car that you drive, it might be your commute that day that there was like no traffic and it was a breeze, to get to work, whatever it is, but like really receive those moments. And I think the more you do that, the more you're aware that, oh, there's actually like, I really enjoy doing this. And so that's why I like try and really like make my makeup routine, like a positive luxe experience. I want my hair product to be that for you as well. I want you to enjoy the smell of it, enjoy the results, but also like the process. And I think that's what I'm trying to get at, is really enjoy the journey. I think at my age, I feel like in your 20s, late 20s, early 30s, it's like so easy to be in that rat race. You're like just like trying to accumulate things. You're like trying to make money. You're like, but I think it's like so important to sometimes just kind of sit back, relax, and like notice all the goodness that you do have currently. Not one day, but actually right now. So, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Anytime I do my makeup on camera, like, especially when I go see it in other lighting, I'm like, this isn't the greatest makeup I've done, but I feel like I always feel like that. And that's because the lighting's always a little different. I'm not making excuses, but in case you're like, this is what she came to show us. No, I know you, I love you guys. And like, that's the other thing too. I feel like I've connected with you guys so much deeper this year, both here and on Instagram. On Instagram, I'll give you a little bit more like in the moment realness. But yeah, I just feel like I connect with you guys on, like, if I need something or I have a question, it's so easy to just jump on Instagram, and, you know, a majority of you guys will like give input. And, you know, like even Amelia, like this year had this like weird fever out of nowhere. She was completely fine, healthy, normal, goes down for a nap, wakes up like with 103 fever. And we're like, what is going on? And I, you know, emailed my doctor, and then I went on Instagram and told the story. And like, I had a viewer that just wrote in and was like, oh, this is blah, blah, blah. I don't remember the name of it, but in like 2 or 3 days, the fever will break and she'll just like break out into this rash, and then it's gone. And it's like a thing that like kids this age have. And I was like, no, that can't be it. She doesn't have a rash. Well, 2 days later, fever was gone. She broke out into this all over body rash for like a day. And our doctor emailed us and basically kind of told us the same thing. But it was like nice that I got an answer even quicker than our doctor. And not that obviously you should get, you know, advice, but at least it put us like at ease. Another parent has gone through something like this, and it's, you know, she'll probably just be fine. So yeah, thank you guys. But also I feel like I've been able to be more vulnerable with you guys. And I think it's been like well received and I don't mean like that you guys are like patting my back for being open and vulnerable, but I feel like it's helped me connect with you even further. And then, you know, even in my consults today, I feel like I'll get a client a week that's like, you know, this video that you talked about this, like I deal with that too and stuff. So yeah, it just brings us together a little bit more in, you know, our everyday life things. So, okay, I think this is it. I feel like I'm forgetting something. But yeah, this is my everyday, not every day because I don't wear makeup every day, but my when I put makeup on kind of look lately. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will list all the products I used and link them for you guys. And yeah, I hope this video was helpful. I hope you're having the most amazing holiday season, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.